Dork back again, and today, my friends, I'm coming at you live from my Qlik Dork studios here in always sunny Gainesville, Georgia. And I wanted to show a little bit of love for people who might have been feeling left out by me recently. You know I love all of you. What I've been doing lately, I've been talking an awful lot about metadata. Of course, I've been talking about that for years. Also been talking about Qlik Virtual Data Warehouse tables, QVDs, and Parquet files that Qlik Sense can do in lieu of having warehouse environments or having data marts and things like that. Well, I don't mean to neglect those people. I also want to talk to those of you who've been under this misguided notion that Qlik has to read everything ahead of time, already have it in memory, and you're thinking about using live queries. You use Snowflake like I have here on the right. You've got data out there and you say, Qlik Dork, I just want to go get data out of those tables live. I don't want to have to think about pre-building anything. I want complete self-service. Well, fantastic. If you fit into that model, you've got data warehouses, you've got data marts, and you want to read the data live. I'm going to show you how we do that today. So on the right here, you can see in my Snowflake catalog, when I call this application my Snowflake catalog browser, that's what it is. I've got all of these tables. What I've done in my load script, though, is I've narrowed it down specifically to 3 tables. We're going to talk about those. One would be my warehouse type thing. Might be an enterprise data warehouse that has data marts in it, depending on whether I generate this coming just from replicate, I'm just doing CDC, etc., and dropping things, or whether I build a full-fledged warehouse with transformations and do data marts. So I've limited it down, but I wanted you to see that is the set of tables that I'm dealing with. A lot of databases, and you can imagine I don't want to be scrolling through all those over here as I try to demonstrate this. So the first thing that I would do is I come out here and I say, hey, I just want to focus on the General Hospital DB. And you'll see that it's got several different schemas out there. Well, let me go ahead and pick the schema. And you'll see on the right here now my tables end up changing, which I'm looking at. You notice, hey, look at that. Of course I'm reading the metadata out of the Snowflake catalog. What am I, a rookie? And I say, man, you know what? I'd really like to go ahead and start working with that accounts table. Oh, but geez, nobody built it for me. Okay, press this button that says ingest it. And what it's doing is it's literally going out, reading the data out of there, and bam, suddenly I've got 51,000 rows of data. Now let me come back here to the data model viewer, and you'll see now that I've got that accounts table out here with this. I'm going to keep this view up now, which is why I've got this split screen. Well, man, I need more data. I want to get the encounters information, and I want to read that information in. And so I press the button. It does a partial reload. It gets my 12,500 records, and bam, all of a sudden now I've got encounters out here as well. Because this is coming from a warehouse, of course, I've got my column set up beautifully. I can associate those things. I need more data. I need more data. This is fun. Yay for me. Well, of course, I want to go get my patients tables. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and ingest those things. Press the button, partial reload. Boom. I bring in my patients information. And you're going to keep seeing that data model viewer changing. Well, I want more. This is too much like fun. Okay, let's go get the surgical encounters. I'm going to go ahead and ingest those things. Bingo, bango, boingo. I read those surgical encounters. Now I want to go ahead and go get surgical costs and press my button, and voila! I now have a pretty decent health model out here in my data model viewer. Look at that. I just read all that data live. Nobody pre-built anything for me. I can start doing things. Well, what could I do with it? Well, man, it's coming in live. I literally just did push down SQL to Snowflake, read the data live. It's not like I know what I can do with this. Why don't I use Qlik's Insight Advisor and use our AI to start helping you do this. And so I'm going to try to create an analysis. Well, what do I want to do? Maybe I want to see trends over time. I want to see relative importance. I want to see year to date. Well, let's go ahead and see what this Pareto chart thing might do. What do I want to look at? Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the total account balance. What fields might I want to do this on? Well, I might want to go ahead and do this by my HRRP conditions and see which of my conditions do I get to my 80% mark with. Well, I can see that, gosh, I'm missing that calculation, and that was over 80% of my data. But now I can just start filtering to these if I wanted to do that, and narrow those down to figure out of those that I have calculated, which one does it take. And of course, I can add that to my sheet and actually start building out a brand new application, right? And I'm going to create a new sheet, and I can continue adding more. And of course, all of our AI is here on this live data that I just read, with nobody building anything, no QVDs being hidden up my sleeve. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Qlik Dork, that's phenomenal, but what about tomorrow? I want to be able to look at that data tomorrow. I've got to keep it fresh. Now that I've got some things, I want to keep it persisted. When. I guess you want me to be able to build you an application on the fly, pulling tables live right out of the catalog with nobody doing anything. Okay, I'll go ahead and do that for you, because we're friends. Now on my split screen here, you can see I've got my space for Dalton's test available. You can see this app that I'm running. You can see other applications that I've built before. Hey, look, those beautiful metadata apps. The reading from the metadata, where I showed you how I could read Qlik Virtual Data Warehouse tables, or I can read Parquet tables on the fly. Let's go ahead now and figure this. What I want to do is build an app with my surgical data in it. Fantastic. Now, instead of ingesting these tables one by one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pick all of the tables that I want. And so I'm going to come down here. I'm going to get my hospitals. I'm going to go ahead and get my patients. I'm going to go ahead and get my surgical encounters, my surgical costs. And I can identify as many tables as I want on the fly here. Now, what I want to do is I need to pick the space that I'm going to deploy this to. As you can see, I've got a slew of spaces out here because, my team does an awful lot of demo applications. So, of course, we've got lots of spaces. I've got this. I'm going to give this a new name. And we're going to call this Qlik Dork Live Surgery. And I'm going to make up a new name. I'm going to give this some kind of description because I love pulling data live. I'm just going to give it some weird thing off the top of my head. And all I have to do here is now I'm going to press this button. And what it's going to do is it's going to call a Qlik application automation behind the scenes. It's telling it, here's the list of tables that I want you to put into this. You notice here it also goes ahead and runs a reload of that data. And I put that app into that space. I gave it that name. It's got this description. If I looked at this thing and said, hey, show me some details, it's going to give me that description that I gave it, and it's going to show me, hey, it just got loaded. Well, we're going to want to go ahead and take a look at that, aren't we? So I'm going to go ahead and open this application. And a couple seconds later here, I'm going to get this thing loaded. You notice here it is not asking me, do you want to put data in, because there's already data. I could start building this, or what I want to do in this case is I want to just jump into the data model viewer and blow your mind with something. I've got my entire surgical data model out here now that I can work with for my health information. And let's go ahead and refresh that guy. And what I want to do here is show you in my preview, hey, holy smoly, this is crazy. I brought the metadata from Snowflake, put it into my data model live. So here is push down SQL pulling live out of a catalog to build an application live. Now, all I would have to do at any point in time is do reload, and it would keep this data going. Now, how would I do that, right? Well, because this is going to be constantly changed, I want you to see that I've done a couple of things. If I'm pulling from Snowflake, no matter where that live data is getting set, if you go out to qlikdork.com and look for my merging with time travel, you'll see me talk about how I can now take this load script that I just built on the fly, live, for self-service, and modify it to merge with time travel information. So no matter what system you're using for your change data capture, how you're streaming it, whether it's Parquet that you're using, whatever that may be, I can merge that stuff live. If you're using Qlik's tools like Replicate and Compose, or our pipeline tool in Qlik Cloud to bring that across, we've got change table information. And I've got an article out on Qlik Community called Merging the Hard to Imagine with Simplicity, where I show you how to do the merge. I'm going to come back here for a second and show you one of these other tables that I'm going to go ahead and load. So if I come down and I look at our information here, man, there's just so many tables. This is exactly why I shortened this up before. But what I want to do is I'm going to show you a couple of tables here. And let me go ahead and make this a little bit larger for the time being. And you'll see that these tables I'm pulling out of Iceberg, I've called it Iceberg as a database, are legitimately Iceberg. These are external tables that I'm putting through Snowflake's implementation of Iceberg, and I'm actually pointing out through glue holding this together. So I'm not holding my ship together with duct tape. I'm holding it together with glue. And so both of these tables are the same. They're both out in AWS Glue. I'm surfacing them as Iceberg. And there's absolutely no difference if I were to go ahead and try to load those tables. So I've already got these tables out here in memory. I'm going to go ahead and point at my Iceberg information, and I'm going to ingest this data out of Iceberg just the exact same way that I loaded my other traditional tables that are in a more structured orientation out there in Snowflake. These tables have lots and lots of rows out here. You notice now I've just ingested 180,000 records from orders, and that would be in my data model now as well. And I could start drilling down and going through this sales information. Come on, folks, you gotta be loving that. All right, so I hope you have a great day, and I hope that those of you who've been feeling a little bit left out, not feeling the Qlik Dork love, when I've been talking about metadata and QVDs and Parquet files, I hope that you realize now there's absolutely no reason in whatever environment you're in, you can't use Qlik Sense to take full advantage of our associative engine, which simply cannot be beat, even if I just want to go poke around, read data, and do rapid business prototypes of my applications to ensure that I can get all the answers I want. Once I know I can just as easily then take all of that information, spin up a brand new app, and get going. If you wanted to use this type of environment, instead of spinning up a brand new app and say, hey, what I'd rather you do is copy this template so that I already have all our company's headers and page layouts and help sheets and blah, blah, blahs, I could do that just as easily. I'd copy an app instead of creating a new app, and then I'd stick the load script out there to do the load data for you. Hope that you have a great day.